many other organizations, the educators, the parents, the mentors, the businesses throughout the Southern Tier who are responsible for this program. The reason I'm emphasizing the word "this" is because, as Gene just said, this is one of the best Our Community Salutes programs in the country. Now, my wife Elaine and I have been out to probably 10 or 12 of them throughout the country over the last 10 years. We're huge fans. We're huge advocates for the program. And this is one of the best. Not just because it recognizes the young men and women who are enlisting from the Southern Tier, and I know that we also have some folks that we're recognizing from the Northern Tier of Pennsylvania. But this whole region, we're recognizing the families, the region itself, and the future of America. Now, before I get started, I do have a script here because I tend to get wound up. And if you get wound up with me, I got no issue. I told some guys in the back, treat it like a basketball game. If you hear something you like or something you don't like, start stomping your feet and hooting and hollering. That's what we're here for. We're here to recognize and we're here to celebrate. Now, before I get too far along, I want to thank the Windsor Music Department for that powerful rendition of our national anthem. You know, I used to ask my soldiers the type of simple question that a high school English teacher would ask them. What is the punctuation mark at the end of the national anthem? The land of the free and the home of the brave. Anybody know? It's not an exclamation mark. It's not a period. It's a question mark. You see, back during the War of 1812, when Francis Scott Key penned those lyrics, he was on board a ship in the Baltimore Harbor, looking across over at Fort McHenry, where the American forces had been shelled and rocketed throughout the night by the British. At dawn's early light, he truly didn't know if the Americans had weathered that barrage. He truly didn't know if that American flag was still standing. He didn't know if the American ideal had survived. I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what your politics, as long as we have proud patriots like we have here tonight in Windsor, our flag will continue to wave over the America we love for a long, long time. And I didn't see a single person kneeling during that anthem. Now, even though the media frenzy seems to have died down a bit on that topic, I'd ask that you allow me a personal moment for a thought on peaceful protest and freedom of speech. And it ties into something that the principal was talking about. Now, you know, I understand that the Constitution and the First Amendment guarantee that all Americans have the right to peacefully protest. They have the right of freedom of speech. Since the United States started under that Constitution, this little guy right here, in 1789, our servicemen and servicewomen have supported and defended that Constitution and that First Amendment, part of the Bill of Rights, sometimes with their own lives. But I'd ask you to remember, it's that same First Amendment that guarantees us the right to assemble for events like this tonight. Yes, Americans have the right to peacefully protest. But personally, what Pete Lennon would like to see when some star athlete or other celebrity gets down on a knee, they also respectfully put their hand over their heart. By doing that, they would be showing that they too recognize and appreciate the wonder and the potential that is America. By doing that, they would be putting their egos aside, at least for a few moments, and pledging for everyone to see that they too, in their own way, are committed to make and keep the America that belongs to all its legal residents more full of liberty, justice, and opportunity. Now, we'll see how many of these hot shots take up the challenge, but I hope some do. Now, one more thought on our flag. Since the early days of the Revolutionary War, Gene, you weren't around at that point, I don't think. Well, you referred to me, I think, as the old guy on the stage, so I got to. But nearly 240 years ago, some form of the Stars and Stripes has served as a rallying point for our men and women on the battlefield. That flag has brought all Americans together in times of pride, strife, and uncertainty. While our honorees tonight are probably too young to remember, but I'd ask their parents and the other members of the little more senior members of the audience to think back and reflect on how many times you saw the flag in the days and weeks after September 11, 2001. But that beautiful piece of cloth is only a symbol. It's not who we are. Ladies and gentlemen, who we are is pretty simple. We, you and me. We are more than residents of America. As citizens of America, we are the essence of America. The greatest, most just social experiment in the history of mankind. Now, I love a quote I recently read in an essay by a senior up at Unadilla Valley, where I went to school in Shenango County. She simply wrote, "The left hand, and the left wing, and the right wing are all part of the same bird." She said she heard that from her grandfather. Well, to me, her grandfather is a pretty smart man. And I'd like to thank her grandfather for passing on that bit of wisdom to the current generation. Okay, now that's enough of the world according to General Lennon for one night. Let's get on to the business at hand. Tonight we recognize what is likely to have been one of the most significant adult decisions that many of our honorees have made in their young lives. We're here to say thank you on behalf of the Southern Tier and the Northern Tier of Pennsylvania, if there are Pennsylvanians here. I want to thank you for making that decision of your own free will. Thank you very much. But we're also here to say thank you to those very important people in the audience who are important members and influences in our enlistees' lives. They helped them to frame that decision of their own free will. Now, it could have been a parent, it could have been a teacher, some other mentor, an older friend. But beyond helping our enlistees frame that decision and make that decision, these are the folks who have helped to make our enlistees the young men and women they are. So I thank you as well. Now, enlistees, you guys and gals, are special. And you're about to become even more special. You may just not know it yet, or you may not believe it. So over the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you why you're special and how you're going to become specialer. Now, whenever I give a speech or some sort of public presentation, or even if I'm on an airplane chatting with the person next to me, I spend a significant amount of time educating those people about the military, debunking their perceptions from years gone by. They may have remembered how the military used to be when they were kids. I remember how the military was when I sat in the high school audience. Years ago, when I was sitting in the auditorium, there was a perception that if a young person wasn't prepared for college, couldn't get a good job, or in some of the harder cases, wasn't even prepared for adulthood, they could always go in the military and find themselves. Or in some of the more challenging cases, straighten themselves out. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not true today. Today's military accepts just over 25% of the 18 to 25-year-olds. 1 in 4 of our 18 to 25-year-olds can meet the military entrance requirements. That's a pretty astounding fact. Now that figure means a couple things to me. First, it means that that same group of young men and women that the military is looking to bring in, America's best and brightest, are also being courted by some of the best colleges and some of the best businesses. You folks had choices, and you chose the military as your foundational step. Now that step is going to change you. Believe me, it will change you. Your families will see it. Eventually you will see it. The future you won't even recognize the you of tonight. Now, when I was a senior in high school, I had a friend who had graduated the year before, shipped off to the Marine Corps at Parris Island. He came back in about November. He asked me, "Pete, how'd the baseball team do last year?" I said, "Roy, you were on that baseball team." He didn't recognize that he was only a few months separated from when he graduated from high school. His life had changed that much. Now, the second thing that 25% figure shows, it shows just how technical the modern battlefield has become. Now, everybody knows that we need some really smart folks to figure out the trajectory of a rocket or a missile, or to engage in cyber warfare or cyber defense. But I will tell you, today's service members are also on the cutting edge in fields such as medicine, engineering, logistics, and yes, we do have some darn fine musicians in the military. You would be amazed at the number of PhDs from Juilliard that are in the military music departments. Now, even today's basic infantryman or infantrywoman has an amazing amount of technology right at their fingertips. We have got to make sure that we pick the best. Now, I want to go one more step with that 25% figure. You 25%ers are what's entering into the pipeline of military training. But what matters is what's coming out of that military pipeline. What type of soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines will you be? After all, America is depending on you for our very existence and security. Now, on that first day, when you get off the bus at boot camp, you're probably going to meet some not quite so friendly drill sergeant. Now that's when you realize we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Now that drill instructor's job is to do more than to teach you military discipline, more than teach you how to salute, more than to teach you how survival skills, and more than teach you some basic technical skills, like firing a weapon and navigating, doing land navigation, and first aid. No, Those drill instructors are responsible for taking the raw attributes that you folks bring to that camp and developing them. You may not even know you have those attributes, but they're going to find them and they're going to develop them. And they're going to be instilling, inoculating, if you will, with all the injections you're going to get some values injected into you too. Together, these attributes are going to become part of your very DNA. My old boss, General Ray Odierno, used to call these attributes the 3 C's: competence, commitment, and character. 3 pretty simple words, pretty common words. Well, let me take a moment to talk about each one of them. Competence. Competence is having, sharing, and applying the skills necessary to be a professional. From day one and throughout your military career, you're going to be learning. You're going to be honing your craft. So listen and learn. That drill sergeant may be yelling at you, but his or her only goal in life is to make you better. Learn from them. Learn from all your instructors and all your leaders. Listen, practice. Learn from your teammates. Have 1 and 1 equal more than 2 in your team. Learn your job and learn how your job fits into the bigger picture. It's just like a football team. If the guard doesn't know what the halfback is going to do, he's going to get in the way, and then halfback is going to stumble and make no yardage. Understand how the team works and determine and figure out how you can make your part of it essential and powerful to that team. The second C is commitment. Commitment is recognizing something beyond yourself, putting the greater good first, even if it means you have to put aside your wants and desires for a little while. You'll quickly learn in the military and in adulthood overall, it's no longer all about you. My wife has to remind me of that quite frequently. No, it's about your mission. It's about your teammates and the success of your unit. But it's most important that it's about the American way of life, what makes America great. For you see, you represent America. You will wear that flag on your uniform. Wear it honorably for all the world to see. You see, that's another reason you're pretty special already. Now, the third C is the most important one. It's character. Now, let me start out this C with a little quote from my old command sergeant major. Now, anybody who's ever been associated with the military, I know, Sergeant Major, you've heard this before, but it's true. A command sergeant major or a sergeant major in the Marine Corps is the voice of authority. Generals like me get a lot of guidance. We follow orders, we execute the general mission. But a sergeant major or a command sergeant major, they only communicate with God. They have God on their speed dial. Well, my old Command Sergeant Major Stacy Davis, used to say, character means choosing the hard right over the easy wrong, even when you don't think anybody's looking. Because somebody always is looking, even if it's only you looking back at yourself in the mirror the next morning. Character is not something you can turn on and off like a switch. It's 24/7, 365. Your character is something that will be tested every day of your career and every day of your life. It's something you must work at every day of your career and every day of your life. Strong character is made up of honor, loyalty, service beyond self, integrity, and respect. Now that's a bunch of fancy attributes, but each one of them means something. So why is character so important? To me, the answer is simple. Because despite all of the military technology that we have, the best and the most modern technology in the world, in the history of the world, military operations and successful military operations are the result of a human endeavor. Whether you're in the mountains of Afghanistan or in Puerto Rico trying to reestablish power after a hurricane, it is a human endeavor impacting the lives of other human beings. Character is important. This is especially true when every action, even by the newest recruit, can find its way onto the internet in a matter of minutes. Simply put, our nation expects you to be a professional and of good character. Now those 3 C's, competence, commitment, and character, will make you special. But they don't come easily. You'll have to earn them. You'll have to earn the trust and respect of your teammates and of your military family. My military is not going to lower the bar just so you can clear it. That's not the way the military works. That's not the way life works. If we do lower that bar, we're letting you down, and we're letting America down. Now that drill sergeant that we were talking about, he's not going to be easy on you. He's not going to take care of you. Oh my God, did I just say that? He's not going to take care of you? No, that may have caused a bit raised eyebrows among the parents and the grandparents here. But what I'm saying is, taking care of our service members is what you do to a child. Taking care of our service members and our new recruits does not help them grow. It doesn't help them learn responsibility and accountability. It doesn't help them to pick themselves up after a bad day and get ready for the challenges of the next day. It doesn't help them get ready for life. No, these drill instructors and the leaders that you run into along the way are not going to take care of you, but they are going to do 2 things. They're going to care for you as you grow. But more importantly, they're going to care about you. Believe me, in those rare cases when they don't, we'll take action. Now that drill instructor is going to work with you all hours of the day, all hours of the night, if need be. They're going to discipline you. They're going to get you into shape. Physical shape, mental shape, ethical shape. What I call professional shape. And when you don't feel like you can go any further, that drill sergeant is going to push you and your teammates just a little bit further up that hill. He's going to get you over that hill. And when he does, and when you make it, he's going to quietly move off to the side and smile with pride, just the same as your parents would. Now, I used to tell my soldiers, self-esteem feels a whole lot better when it's earned. The Army's not going to give you anything, neither the Marine Corps, the Air Force, or the Navy. Now, been a little hard on some of you folks, is perhaps giving you a wake-up call of what you're going to be facing. But it's all good. Now I'd like to talk a moment to the parents and the mentors. You're all a little anxious about what your enlistee is going to be doing and how they're going to experience that transition to the military family. Don't worry. The military has been at this for 244 years. And I can say with confidence that the training gets better and more professional every year. Your enlistee is joining the best trained, best led military force in the history of mankind. family members and our mentors to let that growth happen. Stay in contact with your enlistee. Support them. Remind them, though, that life is full of good days and bad days. And every new day is an opportunity for another good day. Remind them that bad days don't last, but good people do. And to you enlistees, you're not off the hook yet. Keep your families and your mentors back home, back here in the Southern Tier. Keep them informed of how you're doing. Now, I'm going to make it official tonight with a directive. Families, if your enlistee doesn't write, doesn't call, doesn't text, doesn't email, drops off the face of the earth, you've got my permission to stop sending them cookies from home. See how long it takes for them to pick up the phone. Now, in closing, let me say that the military is not some club that anybody can easily join. You'll find that the military gives you very little for free, except some meals that you probably won't have time to fully eat and enjoy, and maybe some stylish new haircut. But wearing that uniform is not an entitlement. You have to earn it. But you can, and I know you will. Along the way, you'll earn something else. You'll earn self-esteem and self-respect. You'll be even more special. Now, what will you do with all the specialness that you build up? Well, just like this dirt road boy from up in Shenango County by the name of Lennon, you'll go places others only dream of going. You'll live a life with lifelong relationships. You'll have a chance to do things others can only dream of doing. You'll operate pieces of equipment and learn technology and learn skills that put you far ahead of your contemporaries. But most importantly, you will make history. You will be part of an amazing, diverse team of professionals in the profession of arms, entrusted with the defense and security of America. Wow, that is pretty special. And you will truly be an American soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine. And in my mind, an American hero. And for that, in advance, I want to say thank you.